Deep in the heart of the Appalachian wilderness lies a stretch of forest untouched by time, whispered about by locals in hushed tones. This place, known as Black Hollow Woods, had a reputation for devouring those who dared venture too far. It wasn't marked on any official map, and the stories surrounding it were enough to keep most people away. Most, but not all. On a brisk autumn morning, a group of 5 Anna, her boyfriend Jake, their mutual friends Leah and Marcus's younger brother Tyler set out on what they thought would be a thrilling adventure. Anna had read about the forest in an obscure blog post, claiming it was a haven for breathtaking views and undiscovered trails. The warnings, she thought, were mere exaggerations meant to ward off tourists. They parked their car at the edge of a dirt road leading into the forest. From the moment they stepped out, the air seemed heavier, the kind of oppressive stillness that made even their whispered conversations sound too loud. The trees loomed overhead, their skeletal branches forming a canopy that blocked out much of the sunlight. Yet, there was a strange beauty in the isolation. "This is going to be epic," Jake said, slinging a backpack over his shoulder. "We'll be the first to post about this place on Instagram." Leah gave a nervous laugh. "As long as we're not the next ghost story, I am good." Tyler, always eager to prove himself to his older brother, bounded ahead of the group. "Come on, slowpokes, let's see what's out there." Marcus rolled his eyes but followed. "Just don't wander off too far, Ty." The group pushed deeper into the forest, the trail becoming less defined with each step. The occasional bird call and rustling leaves were their only companions. After an hour of walking, they stumbled upon something peculiar. A wooden totem standing about 6 feet tall, intricately carved with symbols none of them recognized. "What do you think it is?" Anna asked, running her fingers over the carvings. "Some kind of marker, maybe?" Marcus suggested. "Looks old." "Creepy old," Leah muttered, stepping back. Jake pulled out his phone to take a picture, but the screen remained black. "That's weird. My phone's dead." "You probably forgot to charge it," Anna said, though she noticed her own phone showed no signal despite being fully charged that morning. Shrugging it off, the group continued on. Yet, an uneasy feeling settled over them. The air grew colder, and the light filtering through the trees took on a grayish tint, as if the forest itself were dimming. The trail twisted and turned unpredictably, leading them into a dense thicket where the trees stood unnaturally close together. By mid-afternoon, tensions were rising. "We've been walking for hours," Leah said, frustration evident in her voice. "Shouldn't we have found something by now? Like a clearing or a view?" "Let's keep going a little further," Jake said. "We've come this far." Tyler, who had been unusually quiet, suddenly spoke up. "Do you hear that?" The group paused, straining to listen. At first, there was nothing but the rustle of leaves. Then, faintly, a low hum reached their ears. It was rhythmic, almost melodic, but it seemed to come from all directions at once. "What is that?" Anna whispered. "Probably just the wind," Jake said, though his voice lacked conviction. "It's not the wind," Tyler insisted. "It's something else." Leah shivered. "Can we just go back? I don't like this." Reluctantly, the group agreed to turn back, but retracing their steps proved more difficult than anticipated. The trail they had been following seemed to vanish, replaced by a maze of identical trees. Panic began to set in as the hum grew louder, morphing into a series of whispers that felt unnervingly close. "This isn't right," Marcus said, his voice tight. "We should have reached the car by now." "We're just turned around," Jake said, though his tone betrayed his fear. "Let's keep moving." The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that seemed to twist and writhe like living things. As darkness fell, they stumbled upon a clearing. In the center stood an old, abandoned cabin, its windows broken and its door hanging ajar. Nope, Leah said, backing away. "We don't have a choice," Marcus said. "We need shelter for the night." Reluctantly, they approached the cabin. Inside, it smelled of damp wood and decay. The furniture was broken, and the walls were covered in strange blackened handprints. A single, rusted lantern hung from the ceiling, swaying slightly despite the absence of wind. "This place gives me the creeps," Anna said, hugging herself. "Just until morning," Jake said. "We'll figure it out then." The group huddled together, trying to ignore the oppressive atmosphere. But sleep didn't come easily. Throughout the night, they heard faint footsteps outside the cabin, accompanied by the occasional knock on the walls. Each time they mustered the courage to check, there was nothing there. By dawn, they were exhausted but eager to leave. Yet, when they stepped outside, the clearing was gone. In its place was a dense forest that seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. The whispers returned, louder and more distinct. They weren't just random noises, they were words, though spoken in a language none of them understood. Tyler clung to Marcus, his bravado from the day before completely gone. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice trembling. "We keep moving," Marcus said, though his confidence was waning. Hours turned into an eternity as they wandered through the unchanging landscape. Hunger and fatigue set in, and with them came a creeping sense of despair. The forest seemed alive, its trees closing in tighter, its shadows deeper. At one point, Anna swore she saw the totem they had passed earlier, but when she pointed it out, it vanished. "We're going in circles," Leah said, her voice breaking. The hum returned, louder and more sinister. It was joined by faint laughter, high-pitched and mocking. Then, as if summoned by the sound, figures began to emerge from the shadows. They were humanoid but distorted, their features shifting and their limbs unnaturally long. The group froze, paralyzed by fear as the figures encircled them. "Run!" Jake shouted, breaking the spell. They scattered, each running blindly through the forest. Anna's heart pounded as she dodged tree branches, the figure's laughter echoing in her ears. She stumbled and fell, landing hard on the forest floor. When she looked up, one of the figures loomed over her, its hollow eyes staring into hers. "Why are you here?" it asked, its voice a guttural rasp. Anna couldn't answer. She scrambled backward, her mind racing. The figure didn't move, but its presence was suffocating. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it melted into the shadows. She found the others a short while later, huddled near another clearing. Their faces were pale, their expressions hollow. "We have to find a way out," Marcus said, his voice hoarse. "Before it's too late." As they pressed on, the forest seemed to fight them at every turn. The whispers grew louder, the shadows more menacing. By the time they reached what appeared to be the edge of the forest, they were battered, exhausted, and terrified. Relief began to flicker in their